Hi everyone. Today is Sports Data Talk CEO Stefan Lavén with us. Is it correct, Stefan?
Yeah, that's perfect. Sounds good.
Yeah. If you could introduce yourself to our audience.
Absolutely, I'll be happy to. So I'm the founder of Data Talks, and we've been doing this since 2018 with Data Talks. And prior to that, I've had a long career in like marketing and sales and data and technology. Worked in larger companies, but also in a couple of different startups, and had a few companies my own prior to Data Talks as well.
Mm.
And like back in the day, the sport that I was engaged in was ice hockey.
Okay, really?
Yes, but I'm still like a very much a sports fanatic. So today I'm promoting the wonderful sport of floorball, which I'm sure you haven't heard of maybe, but it's a huge sport in the Nordics, and it's actually growing in Switzerland, in Czech, in some other in Lithuania and some other countries. So it's interesting. Yeah.
We'll talk about what sports do your company covers, but let's talk about sports data talks. What is the key problem you guys solve in the sports industry?
Yeah. So, actually the key thing that we solve is that we increase the average spend that comes from every supporter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we want to see, that the average spend from the supporters goes up. That's like the target. And to be able to do that, we have to sort of work with the different revenue streams that are there, like ticketing, merchandise, if you sell subscriptions to the streaming platform, and sponsorships, a variety of revenue streams that we want to like work with. And the way that we do that is that we have a software as a service, a SaaS platform
Mm-hmm.
that takes in all the data around the supporter. And the reason we do that is to understand like what does each individual supporter engagement look like today?
Okay.
Everything from purchases to content that they consume to how much they are in the app, if they are an app user, everything that has to do with the supporter, we collect that. Because once we see that and we understand how the engagement and how their spend looks today, means that we can then identify the gaps,
Mm-hmm.
and the gaps are the opportunity. That's the opportunity to gain more revenue. And at the same time, we actually see that we can increase the engagement that comes from the support, because what they will be receiving is messages and activations that make sense to them, that is personalized, and it engages them more. So that's what we do. That's what we help clubs, leagues, and federation with, to make sure that average spend increases.
Okay, how do you've mentioned that you are taking all of these data points from different sites. How do you do that? How do you collect million of data points and then how do you combine it to one fan and create profiles? Sounds really complex.
It is. It is actually very complex, and that's why so many of these initiatives, like when clubs or leagues or whoever, any customer in any industry, when they talk about let's monetize our supporters, or let's monetize our customer data, or let's monetize our supporter data, and then they start with an initiative and it fails. And the reason that it fails is because they haven't been able to connect all the data points and make sure that they can merge that into one supporter profile, because that is the key to be able to do that. And yes, it is a complex task that involves technology, involves deep knowledge about how you actually work with data, right? So that is key. That process of taking the data in from all the sources that are interesting to take data from, taking it in and being able to merge that together, so that we know that Kirill in the ticketing system, in the app, and in the merge system is the same Kirill,
Hmm.
which should have all that data together. that is that's key to be able to actually monetize and personalize any communication from that from onwards. But so that is like that is one of the key processes that we do. And yeah, it is complicated, but that's why we built the platform to sort of take that complex task out of the equation for our customers so they don't have to worry about it. We've done it already. We've created the platform, we've done it so they don't have to do it. They can just use the result of that process.
Hmm. How much data and what exact data points do you use to create a customer profile?
So that actually varies from club to club because it depends on, first of all, what is the revenue problem that we're trying to fix. Like if it's and usually it's several. So that depends. And what happens is that you start off with a smaller number of data points, and then that grows over time. As they work with the platform longer, they expand the number of use cases that they want to fix. They expand ways that they want to engage with the fans, and that means that there's an increase in the data points that we get in around the supporter. But typical ones like that we start off with would be like everything that has to do with the ticketing. That would be one
Mm-hmm.
main data source, and there's a bunch of data points coming from that. And then, of course, the merchandise side is another a very interesting one. Then it could be any kind of a concessions, food and beverage. It could also be a stadium entrance and so on. Those are like the typical starting points. And of course, other ways that they interact with the fan, like if they have an app or something, then that would also be something that we would be integrating with and collecting data from, and also pushing data to actually.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And ticketing, when you say ticketing, merchandise, what do you exactly mean? Do you track how much tickets the person bought, or how? Yeah,
Oh
could you?
yeah, absolutely. So we of course track like how many tickets they buy and when they buy it. If they buy tickets for others, and then we try to map out actually who they bought the ticket for, so we understand like the network relationships between the different supporters as well. So it is about the ticket purchases that the supporters do, and it's the same with the merchandise side. It's also like, so what kind of merchandise are they buying? Um, that is one important part to understand, like how are the fans actually engaging
Mm-hmm.
with the club.
Okay, yeah. And when we are talking about, you said we are looking what ticket, how many tickets they bought, and then to whom the relationships between the people. Is this being done by, people in your team, or is there is a, let's say, some models, and are you implementing some kind of AI over there?
Oh yeah, no. So everything is automated. So it's nothing that we're doing manually. So either it's like from some ticketing systems, you get data around this, and then we can use that data to map out what those relationships look like. Otherwise, we can do it in other ways, but it's automated. So it's nothing manual. There's no one that we have that works with that as such. We've created automated processes, and
Mm-hmm.
some, of course, involve AI to do it. But yeah, it's all automated.
Okay, yeah, got you. And then over time, you've mentioned that over time your customer gains more data, and then I could assume your product or service becomes more valuable to them. Is it the case?
Yeah, no, that's true. Of course, it does become more valuable, and it comes more. I would say it becomes more critical for them over time, and the reason is that when they start working with it, they actually see that it does increase the revenue, right? And it does increase the engagement. So, and that's like what they want to achieve. So then it becomes the platform itself, of course, becomes more valuable, but also maybe even more critical, business critical for them. which is a big responsibility, but that's what happens. That's what happens over time. But it doesn't come like automatically. I mean, it means that and we have to remember this with all technology and all software. It's just software. It's just technology. Nothing happens if you don't use it. So it's not a
Mm-hmm.
magic wand. You install it and you start using a technology or software, and then boom, wow, look, revenue is just pouring in. No, that doesn't happen. You have to
Mm-hmm.
use it, right? You have to have an idea of how to use the platform. Otherwise, I mean, you won't get the results. So it still involves, sorry to say, but it still involves work.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, no magic bullet over there.
No, I wish it was, because then maybe we would have found something that's easy to sell. But no, it's not a magic wand or a silver bullet. It's still you still have to use the platform to get the result. But it does make the work easier, and it does provide a simpler way of achieving the results. That it absolutely does. Of course, otherwise nobody would use it.
Mm-hmm.
But you still like have to put in the effort.
Mm-hmm. And do you guys give your advice to the teams in terms of you see their data, right? Maybe you have a service, advisory service on this data or something.
Yeah, so what we do is that when they start working with us, we of course like have an idea of, depending on what it is that they want to fix, right? Depending
Mm-hmm.
on the first sort of starting point, we have best practices of how they should start working, and they need time to learn the platform and know exactly how to use it. So then we're there to support them, of course. But the whole goal for us is for them to be self-sufficient. The
Mm-hmm.
club themselves should work with this by themselves. That's really important, because it is it is it is critical, and they should definitely be able to handle this by themselves. So that's our goal with the onboarding and everything, that they should feel that we can do this ourselves. That's really good. That's where we want them to be. But then we of course supply like best practices. So if we know that some clubs are doing a specific activation, or they're creating certain segments
Mm-hmm.
that convert really well, then we will share that, and we'll say, hey, listen, we have this club. They tried this. We think you should try this as well, because we think that that will work really well for you. So then we provide them with that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't have a advisory service that we charge for or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
but we support them. But then of course there is a lot of excellent partners that are connected to us, who know the platform in and out, that can be more of a like a on-site, more regular help if that's what's needed.
What are the biggest challenges you see in terms of products? Oh, I'm sorry, in terms of the clubs and organization to, let me resort it just a sec. So, yeah, what are the main challenges you see why people don't buy this product? Because it's no brainer and obviously it makes you money.
Yeah, well, I mean, I mean, there can be several reasons, and one of them could absolutely be that the timing is simply wrong. I mean, there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of things going on in a club. We all know that, right? So
Yeah.
so it just could be that they don't have the time to
Mm-hmm.
do it right now. Which I mean, you have to have respect for that, and those things happen. So that is often like the reason, but then we typically pick up the conversation later on when the timing is better. In some cases, it's to do with that they're just resistant to the change, because there is a need to change the way that you do things when you bring in any kind of a platform, right? And that's true for us as well. So maybe the way that you've done things earlier needs to change a little bit, and not everybody wants to change. So that can actually be a reason as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so there are often some reasons for them not to sort of engage with us, but those are the main reasons, I would say, um, that
Mm-hmm.
we see.
Can you say that sports overall is more conservative in regards to technology than other industries? And one of the issues is actually, yeah, being able to explain why it's important and being able to, you know, to jump over their beliefs that technology might be, just an investment that takes money away.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think so. Yeah, there can be a bit the sports industry can be a bit conservative. Yes, absolutely, it can be. Um, but I'm not sure. Like the reason that it is that way, I think has to do with a couple of things, and one is just the fact that um, usually everyone is sort of pressured on time,
Mm-hmm.
so uh, you're doing multiple things when you work at a club. So time is a scarce resource. That's one reason why you can get the impression that it's conservative. It's just because they don't have the time to look into new things and test new things and bring in new things. So that's one thing. And then there is also like the scarcity of budget. That's also constraint, because most of the budget and the investments go into the sporting side,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is, well, of course it does. I mean that is the core of everything. Is the players, is the stadium, is everything around the sporting side. So I can understand that, but I see now that there is a shift, that there is a, a bigger willingness to also invest more on the business side, to be able to actually create more sustainable revenue, so that they can predict a little bit better, like what the P&L will actually look like. So I see that there is a big shift, and I think that will increase the willingness to try new technology or try new ways of working. At least that's my hope, and that's what I see.
Mm-hmm. And is there is a risk, let's say, that big clubs will start to develop these platforms themselves?
No, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that if you have a huge budget, of course you could build this yourself. It's just technology, right? I mean, so technology used in the right way will solve your problem.
Mm-hmm.
But in some cases, it will involve a hefty budget. And that's the case for a solution like this. Um, it like if you look in other industries, not in the sports industry, and you look at other industries, and you look at the companies that have developed like their own solution like this, then it's a huge, it's an enormous budget, and
Mm-hmm.
not just a budget to build it, but then you have to maintain it, because
Mm-hmm.
what you have to realize is that um, this is a ever changing landscape, right? So the sources that we get data from and the way that we want to push out the
Mm-hmm.
like activations and engagements, that changes over time.
Mm-hmm.
Like now we have a certain landscape of social media and the way that we communicate with fans. The only thing we know is that that will change over time, which means that you have to keep up with that. If you have a platform like this, you have to keep up with that, and that can be a very cumbersome and very expensive task. It's you need a really big budget to to um, to justify to build something like this on your own. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we have the opportunity that we have a lot of customers, which means that we can have a more like budget friendly license fee, because you share resources, and you share the cost of development and maintenance with others.
Mm-hmm. And you've mentioned like for floorball at the beginning, ice hockey. So, who are your customers?
So we have customers in a variety of sports. So we have football, of course. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
football is a big sport, but then also volleyball, basketball, ice hockey, rugby, Australian football. Um, I'm probably forgetting golf. Um, I'm probably forgetting something now. But yeah, so it's a very variety of sports that we have, and clubs in those sports that we have as customers.
And what are the, the proudest ones, like the biggest ones you have?
The biggest ones that we have. Well, so I guess the one of the biggest one is actually Collingwood. Collingwood is an Australian club. They play Australian football, and it is the biggest club in Australia. It's a fantastic, it's an absolutely fantastic club. So that is definitely one of the larger customers that we have. And then we have Bundesliga clubs. Also, we have the larger ice hockey clubs as well. So
Really? So you have top level clubs as your customers?
absolutely we do. But we also have a lot of clubs in like in like the second tier as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, sometimes they outperform the bigger clubs when it comes to like how they use a platform, how much revenue they create. Um,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of innovative people in those clubs,
Mm-hmm.
very skilled people. So, I mean, that has like driven a lot of the development for our platform has come from the smaller clubs because they have to think a little bit outside of the box since they're limited in the resources and budget that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Find new ways, right? So then they come to us, hey, listen, can we do this? Can we do that? And then it's like, yeah, that's a really good idea. Let's develop that. So you get a lot of good ideas. So I mean, having big budgets and big a lot of resources isn't necessarily like uh, what sort of makes you be innovative and think out of the box.
Uh-huh.
So we cherish all customers that we have. Absolutely.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, I like your point that smaller teams are probably against the wall, and they need to find something out, and they are more active. And also, I think when you're smaller, you're more flexible, and this way they actually benefit from your platform more rather than just a huge team, right?
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. It's the same for a company like a startup. Like when you're starting, you have to be really creative. You don't have any marketing budget, so how do you get the word out there that you exist? I mean, okay, so a lot of hard work, yes, of course, but you find like these ways of being smart and tagging along with others, and you're like really creative around how you try to get the message out. So I mean it is good to have that as well. And then, of course, if you can keep that creativity and that outside of the box thinking when you also get more resources, then that's like that can really boost innovation and the way that you do things.
Yeah, for example, you start a podcast to meet
Yeah.
people. Yeah, so good thing you think when you have your boats burned and you need to take an island, you'll find the ways, right? So as soon as you creative moving forward, completely agree with you. All right. So I wanted to ask you some of the blitz questions we have. First of all, what is your favorite sport?
Ooh. Okay, actually, that then I would say floorball. The one that is actually, if you ever watch a game of floorball, you understand it's really fast, it's physical, it's tactical. So I would say that it's up there with the top sports. But then of course I'm very I like football as well, and then
Mhm.
ice hockey. I enjoy watching that as well. So I guess I'm like very typical in that sense from the sports that I like.
Okay, typical Swedish person, I would say.
Yeah, yeah, you're probably right about that. Yes.
uh, okay, who is your favorite player?
Oh, now that's a trick question. Well, then my son.
Okay, be sure to show him this podcast, all right?
Yeah, I will.
Uh-huh. What sport does he play?
Floorball.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. What is the favorite part of your job?
Oh, okay. Well, that I don't know if I can give you a short answer to that because it's so many things. But you know what it always comes down to is the people. It's the people that we have inside the company working with them, but also the people I meet. Like I met you, I've enjoyed this conversation, and we've had a few conversations before this. Enjoy that. Um, Meeting customers, but it's those the chance to meet so many fantastic people, and working in this industry to meet the passion that's there. The people are so passionate about their clubs. It's so amazing. I absolutely love that. That's when it's hard times, and you have tough decisions, or like things are not going the way that you want them to, because that that does happen. Then I think that's what I remember, like those things, the passion and the people, and then it makes it all worthwhile.
What one advice will you give to a younger businessman, younger generation, and startups maybe?
Uh, oh yeah, so I would say I would use like a a slogan that everyone is familiar with. It's just do it, because that sort of it does sum it up, because you have to, if you have an idea, don't go around thinking, well, what if I did this? Well, do it. Do it. You have to just start. And don't think that you have to solve every problem that you see. Just start with one thing, solve the problem that's in front of you, solve that, take the next one, and then you take the next one. Don't think that before I get started I need to solve all of these things. If you truly believe about your idea, then get cracking, start working on it, and solve the problems as you go along. That I think is the best thing, because if you don't get started, you never will. So taking
Mm-hmm.
that first step is like so important. And then I think it's good to remember another thing, and that is, I have this saying that the best is yet to come, which
Mm-hmm.
means that, like, when you're at a low point, like things are not going the way you want them, and you're really struggling, then it's good to remember the best is yet to come. But it's also useful when things are really, really good. I mean, you're at the top of the game and everything is just working out for you. And then you can also use it as, well, if it's this great now, then what has the future for me? Because the best is still yet to come. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also a good expression to sort of live by.
Awesome. Yeah, the thing I was thinking about, I don't know what about you, but when I have everything going well, I'm kind of a little bit scared. Like everything's so well, shouldn't it be,
Mm.
less well, or shouldn't it be worser?
Absolutely. I mean, that is something that I think, but I think it's a bit healthy, especially if you're like running a startup, or running a company, or
Mm-hmm.
running a club, or whatever. I think it's a bit healthy to have that you're thinking like, okay, things are going really well, but oof, like keeping an eye out for what might lie ahead of you, or what might push this to not going so well, because then you're prepared, and you can act to get everything back on track really easily. So
Mm-hmm.
it's good to have that sort of in the back of your head, that you need to be prepared. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not necessarily all bad, but you should enjoy the moment though. So celebrate. I mean, if you have a win or something, or things go exactly the way you want to, then make sure to celebrate
Mm-hmm.
it, and then move on.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you, Stefan. It was interesting talk. We've covered a lot about how the data is being used in sports and how the data could create more revenue to organizations. And thanks to you, that you're helping sports to become better place. You're helping sport organizations to finally break, this belief. Like usually sport organizations are, not profitable, and I think you are helping them to become an actual business rather than just charity.
Well, thank you for having me. It was an interesting conversation.
Okay, tell me where our followers could follow your work, and how could they connect if they want.
So they can of course check out the website
Mm-hmm.
datatalks.se, or just look me up on LinkedIn,
Mm-hmm.
and just connect me with me there.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Stefan. It was great to chat.
Thank you.